First, am I audible to you all? Okay, before I start the class, I want some of your opinion. I took yesterday a session of almost 1 hour. Now tell me one thing, how did this 1 hour session benefit you? Can you tell what are the benefits did you find after attending those sessions? Okay, let's start with the class. Since there are less participants, so people are not responding that much. Okay, let's start with the question. Now, the next question is question number 6. Now, this is a very important question. Do you see Indian women as an untapped human resource potential? Give reasons and examples. Now, they are deliberately mentioning to give you example. Now, again, this question has been asked on either social empowerment, because social empowerment of women will happen only when they are utilized as a good human resources. Now, to understand what is human resource, because this is a very common topic either you find in Indian society and Indian economy. So if someone asks me what is a good human resource, then we can say that if the human resource or if the human is productive, then we can say it is a very good human resource. For example, let's say there are two persons, person number 1 and person number 2. Person number 1 can do 10 works in 1 hour, and person 2 can do 5 works in 1 hour. So definitely, who is more productive here? Person 1, isn't it? Now, as person 1 is more productive, he is more efficient, and as he is efficient, we can mention him as good human resources. Now, if I has to tell what does a human resource depend upon, a human resource generally depend upon few things. First, health, education, and the last is skills. If these 3 things are in place, then any human resource will become a good human resource. Now, the question is important. Do you see Indian women as an untapped human resource? Now, as we know that this is a general feature of Indian society that women are not allowed to work. And if women are not allowed to work, then we cannot utilize their productivity. We cannot harness their potential. And in a way, that human potential is getting wasted, isn't it? So they are asking my opinion. Do you see Indian women as an untapped human resource potential? Now, yes, it is untapped. This is a reality. We cannot evade this reality. So, in such questions, you need to start with a negative tone. So, first of all, how will be the structure of the answer? We'll see. First, we'll give a small introduction. Then, this is the body part. The body part will consist of mostly, yes, it is untapped, and slowly it is being tapped. And the next part will be how to tap fully. Now notice one thing, give reasons and examples. So somewhere this is a essay type question. This is not a suggestion based question or analytical question. It's a simple essay type question. So let's understand why it is untapped. Okay, so first of all we can say that why it is untapped, because work participation is poor. You know, in economics we study about labor force participation rate, isn't it? So you will see that if you count the whole population of women between 15 years and above, 32.8% of the women in this category are in labor force compared to 77.2% male, isn't it? So somewhere workforce participation is poor, and so we can say yes, it is untapped, because if their workforce participation was more, then they would have indulged in more work and more we could have exploited their human resource. That's the first point. Now the second point is wage gap and occupational segregation, or we can say occupational stereotyping, because whenever in our economy we see that most of the women get jobs in IT sector or in reception sector, in hospitality sector. These are somewhere stereotyping of jobs, isn't it? That's the first thing. The second thing is there is a lot of wage gap. In India, if man is getting 134, then women are getting 70 rupees. So in global gender gap index, this thing is very well highlighted. So here you can mention about global gender gap index, and here you can mention the India's latest rank. As this rank keep on changing, so it is not feasible to utilize the existing rank, isn't it? Now third option is limited leadership opportunity. Now as we know that in Gaon Panchayat or Gram local governance, 30%, 1/3 of the seats are reserved for women, isn't it? This was a very encouraging thing in governance. But after a period of time, we saw that though women are elected, but in their place, their husband runs the office allocated to them. So somewhere, in spite of getting the opportunity, there is limited leadership. That's the first thing. The second thing is that what was the main reason for bringing this woman representation bill in India? The first important reason is underrepresentation of women at legislative level and Lok Sabha level. It is said only 14% of the MPs are women. Even if you see out of 126 MLA seats in Assam, only 6 are female. Isn't it? So somewhere many opportunities are restricted, and if you don't give opportunity to women, how can they utilize their workforce? Because to showcase your potential, opportunity is also important, isn't it? Now, the next important event is healthcare disparities. You know that one of the common problem faced by women is lack of iron deficiency, which in health related term is known as anemia, isn't it? That's the first thing. The second thing we can say is that lot of women die due to after giving childbirth due to lack of nutrition. So somewhere due to lack of healthcare access, their health are declining. And if you are always in a position of declining health, will you be able to do your job properly? Definitely not, isn't it? So somewhere we can say that due to lack of healthcare opportunity, they don't remain fit throughout the year. That's why companies and other hiring agencies are very reluctant to employ women as their employees, isn't it? Now the last next point is gender-based violence and safety concern. You know, one of the major problem women face that they don't able to do night jobs because they somewhere feel there some sort of risk is there because of various crimes, isn't it? Assault, murder, rapes. Due to such fear, women can't work at night. So these are what? Somewhere this rape. What is rape actually? It's somewhere a gender-based violence, isn't it? So this creates a fear among the women, and this prevents entry into the jobs. They prefer staying at home rather working. Because whenever you return from office, sometimes you have to return late also. But many women face that okay, we won't be able to return at 7, we won't be able to return at 8, so we better leave at 5 p.m. Because in urban cities the situation is different, and in rural areas the situation is different. Because in urban areas you can travel at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the night, but in rural areas the situation is completely different. So somewhere due to this reason, women are very reluctant to participate in any jobs, and if they don't participate in any job, their utility as a human resource remains untapped. Are you getting my point? Okay. Now, but we can say that slowly this woman as a human resource is being tapped. I mean, there are some certain steps or certain scenarios which shows that slowly they are being tapped. The first thing is that if you look at the 2023 India Skill Report, it is shown that out of the women workforce, 52.8% of the workforce have various type of skills compared to the men where only 47.2% have required skills. So this shows that women has better diverse skills compared to men. That's the first thing. The second thing is SHG. as we have seen that in many rural areas SHG's model are coming up, and when SHG model are coming up, people are doing some sort of business by forming SHGs, and when they are doing some sort of business, their economic empowerment is happening. Money, they are earning some money by how? By utilizing their potential, isn't it? Next, one of the important event we see that increasing educational advancement. For example, let's say that few years ago we could have seen UPSC or APSC topper only male, but as of now we can see that even this year UPSC also, that out of the 5 positions, 4 positions were occupied by women, female. So somewhere we can say that their position is increasing, their resource, their utility as a human resource is increasing. And why it is increasing? Because of the educational advancement, because there are many gross enrollment happening by female. So somewhere we can say that this is a very positive sign. Now at the end, you can, in conclusion, you can write what could be the way forward to fully tap this potential of the woman. You can give that we should reduce crime. Even if you look at today's newspaper, in Assam Tribune, you will find that in the first page it is written that dip in woman related crime. According to a book named NCRP, you will find that according to the report published by NCRB, you will see that there was a recent dip in women related crime. So you can also say that we should make our society crime free. Secondly, we can say that we should educate the male counterpart of the society to create a very sustainable environment at the office, or we can say work culture should be reformed, because one of the main issues why family members and other don't permit don't restrict the woman counterpart, mostly because of very worse work culture, or sometimes even women also leave their offices due to worst work culture. Why worst work culture? Because the prevention of sexual harassment at workplace, because this is a very common thing, and sometimes women are also very reluctant to do that thing, do job in such environment. So this is how they can do it. Okay, I hope this answer is clear to you all, because this is a very important topic, and in future also question from this area might come. So if you understand the overall scenario, even this question doesn't come directly, you can write a good answer. I hope this question is clear to you all. Next, analyze the role of foreigners who made India their homeland in Indian freedom movement. Okay, now let's understand. Now, from where this topic is asked, see, if you look at the freedom struggle, important contributors. So based on this topic, they have asked this question. Okay. Now, for example, because while preparing for GS1, we rarely focus on personalities, and from personalities, each year they ask one question or two questions. Last year in a CC 2022, they have asked about Gandhi versus Tagore nationalism, isn't it? So this time they have asked role of foreigners. Now, can you tell me in the comment section that can you name even one foreigner or two foreigner who has contributed in Indian freedom movement? See, whenever we talk about foreigners, the one thing that should come to our mind is about Annie Besant, isn't it? Because Annie Besant was a very powerful lady in the history of Indian national struggle, isn't it? Now, second comes A.O. Hume. The third comes Alfred Webb. Then you have William Wedderburn. Now, can you tell me any organization with whom Alfred Webb and William Wedderburn was associated with in the comment section? Okay, one thing I need to ask is, should I make the session more discussive type, matlab where I ask you a question and you also answer in the comment box? I mean, I think that's a very good thing because it will help you to revise your prelims and the basics also. And also will try to help you to learn new areas from where prelims related question can also be asked. Okay, now William Wedderburn and Alfred Webb were personalities associated with INC. They presided about the president of INC. Now your job is to identify in which session and in which year they presided as president. Okay, so that is your main homework. Now let's understand. So first of all, I would say that this is a very tough question, honestly. Most of the people writing the mains have seen this question for the first time. Okay, because this is a question directly they took out from optional, UPSC optional. History optional. I think in 2017 or 2018, I don't exactly remember the date, but they took it out of the book from optional. So somewhere you can say that to understand when you have a lot of time, because when you finish the preparation for main basic preparation, you can also go to optional question papers and scan out which are the important questions which could be asked in GS1. Okay, now let's understand first about Annie Besant. For example, why Annie Besant is considered as one of the important foreigners who contributed to the Indian freedom struggle. Now let's take a step back and understand what happened in 1907. Can anyone tell me what happened in 1907? Now, in 1907, the Surat split happened. Now, what was the Surat split all about? Split between extremists and moderates, isn't it? Now, what was this effect of this split? The main effect of this split was that the Indian national struggle came to a halt, isn't it? Because if you see that from 1905 to 1909, what happened? Swadeshi movement. So it was the peak of, one of the peak of Indian national struggle, isn't it? But after Suez split happened, the next important event we saw, which one? 1919. And what was the name of the event? NCM, Mane Non-Cooperation Movement. So we can say for 10 years there was no activity, isn't it? So somewhere we can say that this lack of political activity was mainly due to why? Due to lack of unity among moderates and extremists. But all this scenario changed in 1916 and 1917, because in 1916 one of the important thing happened. First of all, you should know where was the session, INC session that took place in 1916, and it was presided by whom? The first important event is there was Hindu-Muslim Unity Pact, isn't it? Now, the second important thing was that moderates and extremists came again hand in hand. And mostly one of the main reason was Annie Besant. So somewhere you can say Annie Besant somewhere saved the Indian national struggle by uniting both the factors, isn't it? Now, next important thing is that whenever now next important event is that as I said that between 1909 and 1919 there was no major activity, but there was another major activity which was not that much popular as compared to Swadeshi movement and non-cooperation movement, that is known as the Home Rule movement, isn't it? Now, the main purpose of Home Rule movement was what? That though it didn't achieve the desired objective, but it prepared a ground or prepared a foundation. Sorry. Prepared a foundation for NCM, isn't it? When you read more about NCM, you will see that if Home Rule League didn't happen, then the ground preparation for NCM would never be possible. Okay. Now, let's understand. So, and in a way we can say Annie Besant was very important for Indian freedom struggle. First of all, she saved the Indian national movement from lack of political activity, and next she prepared a ground for NCM. Now, next there is Sister Nivedita. She did some small cause such as supporting the national cause, promoting art and culture, working in education, isn't it? Even there is a name called Margaret Sisters. If you have read history, then you'll come to know what Margaret sister. Then there is Annie Mary Peterson. She also supported the INC, propagated the freedom movement in Denmark. Okay, but here comes another important personality, A.O. Hume. Now, can anyone tell me that why should we consider A.O. Hume as one of the important personalities? Now, though there is a lot of debate going around the foundation of Indian National Congress, can you tell me what the debate is all about? Now, the debate is all about safety valve theory. Now, it is said that Congress was initially formed as a safety valve or as a platform so that Indians can portray their grievance through a proper platform. Now there has been lot of debate by various people and lot of research, but somewhere, irrespective of the fact, we can say that A.O. Hume was a very instrumental in the formation of Indian National Congress. Why? Because it is due to this personality the Congress got the initial guidance of how to form a political organization, how to work. Plus, when A.O. Hume was the member of INC, so it reduced the suspicion among the official people, and also it was this INC which led many or this one many movements such as NCM, CDM. So somewhere we can say that the formation of INC was very important in the Indian history, and somewhere we can say that A.O. Hume was very instrumental. So in a way we can say that he is also a important foreigner who contributed to the Indian national movement. Okay. So I hope this is clear to you all. You can also do one thing if you want to, means since I have given a model answer, if you want to add something in your answer and show me your answer, I mean I'll put up my email ID. You can write and scan it and send it to my email ID. I'll try to give a feedback. Okay, so let's move to the next question. Now the next question is very interesting. See, if you look at the nature of the question, these questions are very interesting. I mean, when I say interesting, when means if anyone knows about the society or studies about the society, we can say that they can write a very good answer because they are looking for your own opinion, not someone else's. Or means if you look at the nature of the question and if you compare the previous year question, the previous year question was to the point, such as what are the issues women are facing, Then there is this point, what is integrity? How can people be more honest? So such type of direct question. But if you look at the recent trend, the question nature of questions are very changing. We can see that in order to make women organization free from gender bias, inclusion of male members need to be encouraged. Now, why such questions are coming? Because previously, after a point of time, everyone started to prepare those questions, and somewhere everyone was writing a fabricated answer, the answer which is prepared by some coaching or some Google or something. But after a point of time, they understood that this should not be the trend. We need to test students, intellectual students' understanding of the society. So such questions are visible, and honestly when I say that more such type of question will be there in upcoming weeks. I don't see any possibility of easy means. Easy means where you prepare only the static question and you write an answer. So in such type of question, writing skills matter, honestly. Honestly, in such question, writing skills matter a lot, because when you are able to find a good answer, then also you will be appreciated. Now, how to prepare for such questions? By Google keyword. So here you see role of women and women organization. Okay. Now let's understand this question. This is a very again essayist type of question. A lot can be written, but you need to write a limited answer within a stipulated time. Okay. Now let's understand what are the content that could be written under such topic. Now, first of all, let's understand that whenever we talk about women reforms, we only focus on the perspective of reforming the woman side. Why don't we talk about reforming the male perspective also? Isn't it? Because every woman reforms are woman centric. Hardly we see any inclusion of men in any women related reforms. So if we look at the women organizations, most of the women organizations are dominated by women, isn't it? So a question arises, why don't we see male organizations, the male people or male member in women organizations? So based on this tendency, this question is formed. Now the first point could be is what is the keyword? Comment. So I need to comment. So first part will be that what will happen if we include male members in the women organization. The first thing that will happen is when we include male and female both in the organization, diverse viewpoint will come. So when diverse viewpoint will come, there will emerge new ideas, innovative ideas. Also, the challenges faced by women can be well understood by men also. So somewhere a new viewpoint will emerge, empathy will increase, isn't it? Now, second thing, collective responsibility. Now, whenever we say that, whenever we talk about women reforms, it is said that it should be the role of women to empower themselves. But rarely we talk about that it should be the duty of men also to empower women. So somewhere a sense of collective responsibility is missing. If we include male members in the women organization, those collective responsibility will emerge, isn't it? Also, See, no woman reforms will be effective unless and until there is supportive environment. As I have said, that for example, most of the women don't go to work due to the fear of sexual harassment at workplace. So, if we don't create such type of environment in the workplace, so women will come to job more often, because even if you see that women are preferring work from home, isn't it? So that might be due to many things, due to worst work environment or multiple responsibilities, means domestic responsibility, managing the domestic responsibility, and office work becomes a challenge. So if we showcase that that the gender, the opposite gender, that it should be also your duty to help the women help their wife and partner in their domestic chores. So this will in turn create a supportive environment. Next, see, whenever, see, in India there are a lot of women related reforms, but still we see that women remains at an untapped potential. Why? Because the schemes are not effectively implemented. But if we include male members in the organization, they might find new innovative way to implement those reforms. And when it will be implemented, definitely what? The effectiveness of the schemes will increase. Okay. So in a way we can conclude that bringing male members are very important to make women organization free from gender bias. Okay. So this is the question. Now the next question is, comment on the new trend big fat wedding. Now previously there was a web show, I think in Amazon Prime, which was known as Made in Heaven. So it is a perfect example of what big fat Indian wedding is. Because previously weddings were a 2 days or 3 days affair, but now weddings are almost a 1 month affair. Pre-photo shoot, pre-wedding photo shoot, post-wedding photo shoot, then in those between this event put those photos in WhatsApp status every day by telling that 15 days to go, 14 days to go. So somewhere this trend has emerged. So this is a perfect example of big fat Indian wedding, because now additional expenses also emerge. So now, so in a way we can say that this big fat Indian wedding has become a salient feature of Indian society, isn't it? So based upon that, they have asked this question, that what is your opinion on the new trendy big fat Indian wedding? Okay. Now, first of all, let us understand why this trend is emerging. Question is, why this trend is emerging? The first important reason is inequality in society. So, when there is inequality in society, mostly due to inequality in income. Some has high disposable income which they can spend in weddings. And what is the main reason for spending in wedding? To maintain their status quo. See, most of the people who spend so much of money in weddings is to nothing but showcase that we are very rich. Because marriage is very simple. But by including all the events, for example, previously people used to eat at chair table. Now they have the buffet system, isn't it? Now there another thing is selfie point. So when people come to this wedding, they tell, okay, he has given marriage in our marriage to our daughter. There was a selfie point. So you remember, it shows that okay, he is very rich. That's why he was able to afford that. So somewhere we can say that this trend is emerging due to maintain a status quo, and because why? Due to unequal society. Now, second thing, rising income. Previously, the amount of people in formal jobs were very less, but now people in formal jobs are increasing, and once this is increasing, they have more income to spend, isn't it? Now the second is now the second option, second important reason is availability of loan. Most people avail loan facility to marry, isn't it? Now most of the main purpose of taking loan is to create a asset, but I don't understand why people are taking loan to get married. I mean, they are not creating an asset, isn't it? Now, the next important is that new concept of marriages are also emerging. For example, social media like destination wedding. Then we have this one bachelorette party. These are nothing but propaganda fed by social media. Even if you see now in nowadays in during engagement, cake is being ordered, isn't it? So these are fed by social media, and due to the FOMO, the fear of missing out, everyone get indulged in such type of scenario. So somewhere this social media are also spreading this trend, isn't it? Now, what are the impact? Let's understand. First of all, it increases vulnerability of the family, because obviously when you are spending so much thing in marriage, such as taking loan and spending all your finances, savings, it will reduce the amount available for your education, for other health related crisis, isn't it? So somewhere it increases the vulnerability of the family. Now, it also affects the girl child somewhere. For example, people instead of spending so much of money in education, they will reserve it for marriage, isn't it? So somewhere this will uh, increase more and more. Then we'll see that uh, Indians will see always that the status of means marriage as a performing expensive marriage as a social status will increase more and more, isn't it? Doing expensive marriages as a social status will increase more and more, and somewhere this is not good, no? Because everybody, if they spend so much of money in marriages, what's the utility? Yes, we can say that lot of jobs will be generated, yeah, wo, but even marriage is also not a 12-month affair. So even jobs are generated, they won't be formal jobs. They would be somewhere informal jobs or a contract basis job where 2 to 3 months you work, and for the rest of the 10 to 9 months you remain unemployed. So yes, it is generating jobs, but the nature of the jobs are not very good. and also in the process the contractors maximize the amount of profit. They keep the maximum chunk of the profit for themselves. As we know that now they are not called contractors, they are called as event managers, but ultimately they are the same thing, and the worker gets a very minuscule amount of the profit generated, isn't it? Now apart from this, we see food wastage, because when you are given 40 items to eat in a single meal, then obviously you will eat small portion of every item, but in the process what? Food is wasted. So when such food is wasted, definitely situation of hunger might arise. So this is not a very good thing, no? So in a way we can say that yes, big fat Indian wedding is a very new concept, but somewhere it is affecting the society overall, because India is still a developing country where 25% of the people are poor, and most of the well is reserved by only 1% of the population. So we can say almost 99% of the population lies between middle class and below middle class and above middle class, isn't it? We cannot say we cannot compare ourselves with Ambani and tell okay the amount of money spent by Ambani in his daughter's or his son's wedding will spend the similar amount of money, because we have a family to feed, we have a family to take care, and we have to think about the security of the family, such as health related issues. So we cannot afford to spend 1 to 2 lakh rupees in just photo shoot, because that's almost the money you need to spend in healthcare related issues. Somewhere this is a very wrong and misleading trend in my opinion. The positives, see, in everything there are positives and there are negatives, but in a way in this scenario the negatives are outshining the positive. So if you have an overall look, the negatives are more. Okay, so the next point, this is again a history question. Yes, Kalash, you can give many points. There is no means restraint to any and also it's a very good thought. Noise pollution, lots of electricity wasted may lead to global warming. Okay, you have shown a new dimension. That's a very good point. Okay, let's come to the next point. Point out the problems in using official source while writing the history of the peasants. Now tell me, give me I'll tell you about the history of the peasants. Okay, let me divide this history into various parts. Pre-1857, post-1857. Okay, now tell me two pre-1857 peasant related revolt and two post-1857 peasant related revolt. Yes, Palash, definitely, because many of the black money are spent in this type of voting. Definitely, then people will be more motivated to do corruption so that they can spend they can increase the disposable income and spend in such marriages. Definitely. Okay, now let's come back to this question again. Tell me two events of pre-1857 and 2 events of post-1857. Okay, this will be your homework. Just go and have a glance over it. What is the pre-1857 and post-1857? Now, see, as I have said that history is written by what? How is history written? History is written by referring to various sources. Now, British Indian histories are written based on various sources such as newspaper, literature published, official records. Isn't it? Now, most of the history of the, because peasants are the lower category of the people. I'm not saying they're the lower category of the people, but they are considered as very lower category of the people in the society, isn't it? So when history was written, it was written by the elites, and when elites write the history, they only talk about the elite part of the history. So somewhere the history associated with peasant revolt didn't emerge. So it was not given the due respect. Even if you look about when you read about history, because even when you read about history, when you also read about history, you will know about 1857 revolt. You will know deeply about NCM. You will know deeply about CDM. And in NCM also what Gandhiji has done. But you will never know, or in general also you will never know what peasants revolt are, what indigo revolt are, what Pavna revolt are. Isn't it? These are also peasant related, but how much depth we need? Isn't it? So somewhere the nature of this one, writing history of the peasant is not well developed. And even it is well developed, even if it is written, it was written mostly from the official records of the British. Based on these British records, the history of the peasants were written. But what is the problem while using official sources while writing history of the peasants? Let's understand. Now, first of all, in official documents, these revolts are mostly seen as law and order issues. But if we look from the peasant perspective, they were seen as nationalist movement or protest against the foreign government. But in British government, it is seen mostly as law and order. So somewhere we can say that the nature of these official sources are filled with biasness and perspective, isn't it? Now, the second is underrepresentation of peasant voice. Because if you see that who is the author of these official records? The British government. So peasants are not writing those official documents. So definitely the peasant voice, peasant viewpoint will be missing, isn't it? So if we write a history when we are not taking in account of the peasant, can we write a very neutral history? Definitely not. We are somewhere writing a what? Bias history. Now, the third point is selective documentation. Now, do you think British will say that in document they will say that no, they are not, they are nationalist movement, they are protesting against foreign aggression. Definitely we will say what? They are law and order issues. And amid those part which will showcase the British in a bad light, isn't it? So this comes what the next problem is selective documentation. The fourth is limited scope and availability. Why? Because we will see that there will be lack of documents, lack of official records. Why? Some might have been destroyed because at that point of time it was the era of file, handwritten file. So definitely fire might have come, or while shifting from one place to another many documents have been lost, isn't it? So in a way we can say that there is limited scope and availability. So based on this we can say that if we consider official sources while writing history, then we might not write a very good history of the present. So somewhere what we can say is that we'll write a biased history, isn't it? So instead, yes, official source can be used, but it should be supplemented by various Indian literature and other newspaper articles for portraying a neutral view of history. Okay, so these are the 5 questions today. I'll take the next 5 questions on this Wednesday, Tuesday. So tomorrow I'll take GS5 class. So I hope you attend all. You all attend, and we'll continue in the next class. Until then, if you want to show your answer, I'll put my email address here. You can just send your answer, and I'll provide a feedback. Okay. So till then, thank you. Have a good night.